The anguished cries of the slaughtered Theon echoed relentlessly through the distress beacon's transmission, piercing the silence of space as it reached the UES Indomitable, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos of the galaxy. Against the relentless Vakari invasion, the galaxy stood paralyzed, unsure of how to confront this formidable threat. The Theon, facing annihilation, turned to humanity for salvation. Captain James Hawkins heeded their desperate plea, understanding the gravity of the situation. The ruthless Vakari invaders, wielding superior technology and ruthless tactics, had ruthlessly crushed Theon defenses, leaving devastation and despair in their wake. They were bent on exterminating and enslaving the Theon people, their forces sweeping across the besieged Theon homeworld like a merciless tide. As Hawkins approached the besieged planet, he witnessed the grim aftermath of the Theon fleet, once proud and formidable, now reduced to shattered remnants adrift in the void. With Theon Ambassador Kos tearfully beseeching him to intervene, Hawkins knew that humanity was the Theon's last hope for survival. Failure was not an option. The fate of an entire species hung in the balance. Determined to push back the invaders, Hawkins devised a daring plan to strike at the heart of the Vakari occupation, aiming to shatter their command structure and turn the tide of the war. But it was a perilous endeavor, fraught with uncertainty and danger. As the Indomitable prepared for its desperate assault, Hawkins assembled a squad of elite soldiers, each clad in sleek power armor that enhanced their strength and agility. Kos, fueled by determination, joined them as their guide, his 4 eyes reflecting unwavering resolve. Together they embarked on a perilous journey, crammed into a dropship hurtling through the smoke-choked atmosphere of the Theon homeworld, dodging anti-aircraft fire that streaked past the viewports like deadly comets. The strike team touched down in a crater near the enemy command center, their pulse rifles at the ready as they advanced cautiously through the ruins of a once majestic city. The devastation wrought by the Vakari assault was evident in the broken spires and toppled monuments that littered their path. Suddenly, the air crackled with plasma bolts as a Vakari patrol spotted them, unleashing a hail of deadly fire. Hawkins and his team swiftly sought cover, returning fire with deadly precision. "Light them up," Hawkins barked, his voice cutting through the chaos as the humans unleashed a torrent of firepower, their high-powered rifles tearing through the thick hides of the Vakari invaders. But the enemy's numbers seemed endless, waves of hostiles pouring in from all directions. Undeterred, the humans formed a defensive perimeter, their resolve unyielding as they fought with every fiber of their being. Amidst the deafening cacophony of battle, Kos proved surprisingly adept, his determination matching that of his human allies. Armed with nothing but a sidearm befitting a diplomat, he swiftly dispatched a Vakari who dared to encroach too closely. "We can't afford to linger, Captain," he urged, his voice resolute amidst the chaos. With determined resolve, they pressed forward towards the command center, navigating through the desolate streets strewn with the remnants of battle. Vakari fire teams fell before them, their advance marked by ruthless efficiency fueled by superior human technology and training. Yet amidst the carnage, what they encountered sickened them to the core. Piles of butchered Theon civilians and sobbing survivors being dragged away as slaves painted a grim picture of the Vakari onslaught. Unchecked Vakari death squads rampaged through the streets, their brutality knowing no bounds. Hawkins, his fury barely contained, swiftly dispatched a Vakari brute who dared to prey upon a wailing Theon child, his determination fueling his resolve. "These bastards are going to pay," he growled, his voice dripping with venom. As the command center loomed ominously ahead, a fortified bastion bristling with defenses, the odds seemed insurmountable, but Kos, ever resourceful, offered a glimmer of hope. "Captain, my intel report indicates a vulnerable Vakari supply depot 4 clicks to the west," he pointed out, his gaze unwavering. "If we can cripple their fuel and ammunition reserves, it will severely hamper their ability to wage war." A savage grin spread across Hawkins' face. "I like the way you think, Kos," he remarked, his tone laced with anticipation. "Let's give these aliens something to really scream about." With resolve renewed, they diverted their course, carving a path through enemy territory with relentless determination. Panic spread among the Vakari ranks as reports of the human assault echoed through their communications channels. But even their combined might was no match for the onslaught unleashed by power-armored human shock troops, a force unlike any they had ever faced. The supply depot, a sprawling complex ringed with deadly laser cannons, lay before them. Vakari transports bustled about, loading up with ammunition and reactor cores, oblivious to the impending doom that loomed overhead. With precision and speed, Hawkins and his team struck, unleashing a devastating assault that would cripple the Vakari war machine and pave the way for their ultimate victory. "Seize the opportunity!" he roared above the cacophony of battle, his voice echoing with determination. The humans and Kaios charged forward with reckless abandon, their weapons blazing as they tore through the Vakari ranks. Bodies shredded by pulse rounds were hurled in all directions, the air thick with the stench of seared flesh. With unwavering focus, Hawkins singled out a tower-mounted laser cannon that threatened to pin his team down with its relentless barrage. With a swift motion, he launched a micro-missile from his suit's shoulder pod, the projectile finding its mark as it pierced the tower's viewport and triggered a cataclysmic explosion, engulfing the cannon in a plume of vaporized metal and flesh. "Advance! Secure the depot!" Hawkins bellowed, taking point as his team surged forward, their resolve unyielding. They stormed the depot gates, cutting down defenders with ruthless efficiency, but the Vakari fought back with ferocity, their desperation palpable as they sought to protect their vital supplies. A searing plasma bolt grazed Hawkins, leaving a gash across his armor, but he pressed on, his teeth clenched in defiance as he dispatched his assailant with lethal precision. Amidst the chaos of battle, Hawkins emerged as a one-man army, his movements fluid and decisive as he fired and reloaded with blinding speed. Leading by example, he spurred his soldiers onward, their courage unshakable even in the face of relentless enemy fire. Slowly but steadily, they pushed the Vakari back from the depot, their determination unwavering as they fought tooth and nail for victory. Victory seemed within grasp, tantalizingly close, as Hawkins could almost taste it amidst the chaos of battle. But then a panicked transmission shattered the fleeting moment of triumph. "Captain, massive warp signatures detected." His executive officer's voice rang out, urgency dripping from every word. "It's a damn invasion fleet. They'll be raining weapons down on us within minutes." Hawkins turned his gaze to the angry red sky, where Vakari reinforcements began materializing in orbit, their numbers swelling with hundreds of fresh enemy ships poised to unleash devastation upon them. The Indomitable stood as the lone barrier between the invaders and the planet below. "Take us straight at them, full combat speed," Hawkins commanded over the comm, his voice resolute. "Buy us as much time as you can. We'll deal with this supply depot and create an opening." He knew the risk he was asking of his crew, charging them into the maw of almost certain death. But the Thean's fate hung in the balance, and the Indomitable could not afford to falter. Surveying the supply caches brimming with explosive ordnance, an audacious idea sparked within Hawkins, matching the fearless resolve of his ship's impending attack run. "We're going to blow this whole damn depot to atoms," he declared to his strike team, urgency driving his words. "Grab whatever explosives you can carry, rig them to the ammo dumps and fuel stores. This place is going to light up the entire continent. Move like you've got a purpose." With haste, they set to work, planting as many detonation charges as possible before the Vakari fleet descended upon them. The outcome was uncertain, the odds stacked against them, but they were the Theon's only hope. Failure was not an option. Above the besieged Theon homeworld, the space battle erupted into a frenzy of furious combat. The human fleet, led by the valiant UES Indomitable, clashed against the technologically superior Vakari forces with unyielding courage. Outnumbered and outgunned, they fought with the ferocity of warriors who understood that the destiny of an entire species hung in the balance. Amidst the chaos of the planet's surface, Hawkins and his strike team continued their relentless assault on the Vakari supply depot. Pulse rifles rattled, micro-missiles streaked through the air, and explosions reverberated across the terrain as the humans pressed forward with unwavering determination. Vakari defenders fell in droves, unable to withstand the sheer ferocity of the human onslaught. But amidst the fray, an urgent message crackled through Hawkins's comm unit, the voice of his executive officer aboard the Indomitable tinged with barely concealed panic. "Captain, the Indomitable is taking heavy damage. Shields are failing, hull breaches on multiple decks. We can't hold out much longer against these reinforcements." Grim determination etched into his features. Hawkins knew the gravity of the situation. The Indomitable stood as the last line of defense between the Vakari fleet and the planet below. If it were to fall, the Theon would be doomed. Yet he also understood the importance of their ground mission in weakening the invaders' hold on the planet. With a heavy heart, Hawkins made the agonizing decision. "Understood, Indomitable. You have to hold the line no matter the cost. We'll complete the mission down here and draw the bastard's attention away from you." "But sir, what about—" his executive officer began, concern evident in her voice. "You have your orders, Commander," Hawkins interrupted, his tone firm. "Hawkins out." With a heavy heart, he terminated the communication, knowing he had just sentenced his ship and crew to a desperate fight for survival. But there was no time for regrets. The mission had to take precedence. "Listen up," he barked to his strike team, his voice cutting through the chaos of battle. "The Indomitable is in trouble, but we can best help her by raising hell down here. Double time it to that command center." With renewed determination, they fought like demons, their resolve unyielding as they pressed forward, knowing that the fate of both their ship and the Theon rested upon their shoulders. Carving a path of devastation through the heart of the Vakari occupation, power-armored boots crushed over the fallen corpses of the enemy as they surged forward toward the command pyramid. Plasma fire from the Vakari defenders proved futile in halting the relentless advance of the humans. Finally breaching the inner sanctum, they were met with a chilling sight, a vast chamber pulsating with malevolent energy. But what awaited them inside defied belief. Arrayed before them were not only Vakari, but a motley assortment of a dozen alien species: Theon, Crete, Varuni, and others, all recognized by Hawkins as victims of Vakari conquests. Yet instead of being cowed captives, they stood as soldiers beside their oppressors, weapons trained on the humans. "My God," Kos breathed, the realization sinking in. The Vakari aren't just one race. They're a collective of enslaved species forced to fight for them. Hawkins snarled in disgust, his resolve hardening. "It doesn't matter who they are. We're putting an end to their reign of terror here and now." With a resounding battle cry, the humans charged into the fray, plunging into the midst of the enemy. What followed was a whirlwind of desperate close-quarters combat, a savage melee of flailing blades, pounding gun butts, and point-blank weapons fire. Hawkins moved like a machine of war, dealing death with every blow, his armor slick with the blood of his adversaries. Amidst the chaos, at the heart of the tumult stood a towering Vakari warlord, bellowing orders to his shackled minions. Hawkins locked his gaze onto him, recognizing this as the linchpin of the enemy's forces. They clashed in a collision of titanic strength, human fury against alien brutality. Ducking a swung plasma axe, Hawkins felt the searing heat singe his hair as he maneuvered, his pulse rifle finding its mark under the warlord's jaw. With a burst of fire at point-blank range, scales, flesh, and bone were blasted away. Yet the Vakari commander proved monstrously tough, his grip tightening around Hawkins's throat, slamming him against a bulkhead. In that moment of despair, with the weight of the Theon's hopes and his crew's reliance on him bearing down, Hawkins summoned his last reserves of strength. With a desperate burst, he brought his armored knee up into the warlord's groin, the crunch sickeningly audible. As the Vakari howled in agony and loosened its grip, Hawkins seized the opening, driving an armored fist into the alien's throat. With a decisive strike, he caved in its windpipe, leaving it staggering back. Following up with a well-placed micro-missile, the projectile detonated with a visceral explosion, tearing a gory hole straight through the warlord's torso. As the Vakari commander toppled, its puppet soldiers collapsed like marionettes with cut strings. Standing over his vanquished foe, battered and bloodied but unbowed, Hawkins allowed himself a grim smile. "Captain, the Vakari forces are in disarray," Kos shouted in amazement, monitoring the comm channels. "When you killed the warlord, they lost cohesion." "We did it," Hawkins acknowledged, his smile tinged with weariness as he surveyed the devastated command center, strewn with the bodies of enslaved species. They had struck a decisive blow against the Vakari war machine this day, shattering the invaders' chain of command and proving that the alien scourge was not invincible. Yet the victory had come at a cost. As the adrenaline ebbed and the echoes of battle faded, Hawkins couldn't help but feel a surge of relief, though he knew the fight was far from over. He prayed silently that his brave crew had survived to witness this hard-won victory. The Theon would live to see another day, but across countless other worlds, the oppressive grip of Vakari occupation still clenched tightly. With steely resolve, Hawkins vowed that humanity would remain steadfast against the invaders, a beacon of defiance amidst the darkness of oppression. The Indomitable would continue to lead the charge, spearheading the fight across the stars until every enslaved race breathed the air of freedom once more. Reloading his pulse rifle, the crisp click of a fresh ammo cartridge resounded in the smoke-choked room. There was still much work to be done, and Hawkins knew he couldn't afford to rest on his laurels. The battle may have ended, but the war against tyranny raged on. As the story concludes, if you enjoyed this tale and wish to support me, consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. For every comment expressing your appreciation, I'll be sure to acknowledge it with a heartfelt response. Thank you for your time and support.